and welcome back to Jamie's Man Cave. Another beer review for you, and we are testing out some gluten-free beer this time. A true gluten-free beer, because it's not one of the gluten-free beers that you might find in the supermarket or probably in the pub. It's the ones that have had the enzyme added to remove the gluten during the brewing process. It's an actual dry hopped lager made from ancient grains, so grains that don't have any gluten in them to start with, and it's from Greens Beers. We get it in the glass for you. Got a nice little bit of carbonation, good head, and as I say, yeah, from Greens Beers, gold dry hopped lager, brewed from ancient grains, naturally gluten free. Get my tongue around all of that. 4% alcohol, made using water, buckwheat, sorghum, millet, brown rice, hops, and yeast. Original gluten-free and wheat-free beer, craft brewed in Belgium. Brewed from ancient grains and non-GMO yeast. 4%. Still looking okay in the glass there. I found this one online. I'm going through a bit of a gluten-free spell as part of some allergy tests, so I can't have any regular beers or even the lower gluten removed beers. So I've been looking for, as well as sort of testing out some brews of my own, using these ancient grains that don't have any gluten in to start with. So I came across this one, Greens. Found it online. Looked initially, and I think it is, a British company, English company, or certainly founded by an English person, who I think then has teamed up with a Belgian brewery or a Belgian brewer to create this. But I think it is made in Belgium now, and are sort of distributed across the UK, Europe, and I think in the US and Canada as well. Which you've got to say, for those people that can't have any gluten, beer is an issue, isn't it? And for those that can't safely have any of the gluten removed beers, which are becoming more popular, then something like this, you would think, has definitely got a place. And I would imagine that it should be more popular than it maybe is. So the only place I could find this was to order it online and get it delivered. But by doing that, you have to order a large case or a box of them. You can get like a mixed box, or you can just order the lager or the IPA. So yeah, I've just seen that they've started doing them in can as well, and I think they're being distributed in America in can. So again, interesting. Just being interrupted by the dog coming into the kitchen for a slurp as well. It looks like it must be the time for Thursday. We're just approaching the Easter bank holiday. The sun was out this morning, and I thought it's a perfect day, and it was looking perfect for a lager. I've been keeping hold of this one in the fridge for reviewing purposes, but then we've just had a massive downpour this afternoon, so I'm getting a lot off that. Very faint. Maybe a little hint of citrus. Hint of citrus, maybe some grassy hay, possibly. Maybe just because that's what people tell you should smell in a lager. I don't know. I'm not sitting here claiming to be an absolute expert. We'll just say it as we find it with these. Should we have a taste? Because obviously lager, it doesn't actually tell you what hops they use in this one, which is a shame, but of course, brewers will be brewers. So with it being sort of a craft brewery in Belgium related, you would think that maybe they would showcase the kind of hops that they're using. And this one it says Brew 7, a unique lager with bold hop aromas. So whether that Brew 7 is just their Brew 7 is that lager that they always do, or do they possibly um, variations on the recipe, so they use different hops maybe within that lager, with it being a hopped lager? I'm not too sure. Definitely got them standard lager sort of flavors. It's maybe not straight away what you would associate with a regular lager, because you don't necessarily get that um, sort of sweetness, the grassy sort of elements as well if you get a craft lager. But there is certainly some sweetness there. There is what's a way to describe it? It's almost like a syrupiness. Um, so a syrupiness, sweetness, a little bit of bitterness. It's quite dry, quite refreshing. Um, so it doesn't linger around too long. And it holds well in the glass, which is good. Um, because as I've tried to brew a few of these gluten-free ones, one of the big issues that seems to come up when researching them is that you struggle to sort of hold the head and get the head retention because of the sugars and the proteins that are coming out of those grains that don't contain. They're just not the traditional brewing grains, really. And I suppose the reason why beer has ended up being what it is, and it's brewed with barley, wheat, and all those other grains, is because they are the easiest to brew with and to convert into beer. So that's probably why these ones, the older ones, the ancient grains, have fell away a little bit, because it's probably a bit easier to use the others. So um, it's interesting that obviously with a mass produced one with somebody who knows what they're doing, um, you can still get that looking as it should. As for the taste, um, yep, so a slight sweetness, a hint of green, grassy, earthy, very sort of light. A little bit of citrus, slight bitterness. It's dry. It disappears after a short while. It's quite refreshing. It's nice when it's cold. It does say drink cold. Um, and yeah, I've said this a few times with different beers on this channel that I've reviewed, but if I could get hold of it a bit more easily than having to order big boxes of it, at the right price point, for somebody who's not able to drink other beers, it's well worth a try. It's nice and easy drinking, refreshing. There's a couple of other versions that they do. They do an India Pale Ale, which I drank both of, and they do a Great Discovery Amber Ale. I've got one of them in the fridge, so I think that's a 6%. So if you're interested in seeing that reviewed, then you can always jump in the comments and let me know. But yeah, greens beers, naturally gluten free. This one, the Gold Dry Hopped Lager. It does what a lager should do, and as the weather and the spring is starting to arrive, it's well worth a try. For those that aren't able to drink traditional beers that contain gluten, or the gluten removed ones, give greens beers a search. I think online it's Green's gluten-free beer, I think. But that's what it looks like anyway. The G, the little hop image at the top. So yeah, go and give them a try. Give them a follow on social media and see what you think of them. I found it quite difficult in the UK to find beer that is truly gluten free, made from them gluten free grains and not just gluten removed versions of regular beer. So far, this is the only one that I've managed to find that I've been able to try. In the future, we may find others, but for now, that's all we've got. So that's what we have to go with, apart from the stuff I've been making in my garage. So that's interesting as well. There's other videos coming on that. Until the next one, cheers.